Well, I've been waiting for this interview for a very, very long time. There's my friend Chuck Bankoff, all the way from the USA, and I thought instead of doing it on video over Zoom, today we're going to do our interview live here in the African bush. So let's see what Chuck's got to tell us.
Well, I could tell you, I flew 36,000 miles or 100, I don't know, but I'm going to be able to write this off as a business expense.
That's great, Chuck. I believe you actually flew business class because it was so far.
Yeah, we did the math, and it was kind of a wash. We would have had to stay over in London a few days, and the hotel, and getting on and off a plane and security. You know what? Let's just catch a nap on the plane. So we did it kind of first class for the first time.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, you got here, picked him up from the airport, and he was fit and fresh and ready to go. So, Chuck, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, where are you from, and a little bit about your background.
Well, I grew up in New York and went to college there, and it was kind of like during a recession period, and there was nothing going on there. There was no hope of jobs or anything like that. And so myself and a couple of my friends we just decided to get up and leave. We packed everything we owned, got into a van, came cross country, visiting. We had some friends that lived in California, and they are all gone. I am still there, and that's where I kind of I built my adult life there. I mean, that's where I got married, raised my kids, and started my business.
Mm-hmm. So when you looked at starting a business, how did you decide on digital marketing or internet marketing as we knew, in those days? And maybe how you found WSI. But I mean, it was interesting change from what you were doing.
Well, yeah, because I started looking into my own business in the middle of 1999, like around the July period, because I was working for a large aerospace company, and it's a big deal in Southern California. Boeing, McDonnell Douglas, all these places. And one thing they had in common was everything depended on a contract, a government contract or a commercial contract. So everyone was either a contractor or a subcontractor. So everyone was either hiring or laying off at the same time.
Right.
So during a recession, there's no refuge. There's nowhere to go. You can't hop over to another aerospace company just because they're laying off. And I really got tired of that cycle. And I kind of, I was high enough on the corporate totem pole to realize that I was actually part of the process of outsourcing my own job. I kind of had a sense that I wanted to get involved in a franchise because I'd never run my own business before. And I wanted something that was at least somewhat turnkey, or at least some semblance of guidance. And so I looked at 3 different franchises. Then I came across WSI, and I'm thinking, well, what's different about this is this internet thing, which I think might have some potential. Right. Remember, this is 1999. It
Right.
wasn't really, it was tough selling to a business owner at the time because they did internet. We don't know what. I got a fax machine.
Websites just weren't even.
Yeah. And so, but what I looked at it was, one, I didn't need a lot of equipment. I worked out of my home for the first few years. All I had was a laptop, a cell phone, and a printer, copier, faxer. That was my entire audience, my entire office right there. And that was at this little desk. We still have this desk. It's like 4 feet by 18 inches. That was my entire office. We still use it at home, right? And so the overhead was low, okay, and the potential was high. And I went with it, and about, a couple of years later, now I started off part-time. Okay, I was still working at Honeywell. I had all this vacation time, so I would do a series of 3-day weekends, and I would take those Fridays and meet with clients, and I built my business. And 2 years into it, all of a sudden, I was making more money than I was making on my salary.
Excellent. So, how long have you been in WSI for?
Well, I started November of '99 is when Marcia and I went through training. So
20 years.
It's coming on 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
So you're one of the originals, right?
Yeah, when I first started, there were like 20 franchisees in the entire United States. Most of them were like in the UK back then.
So before we get into your typical day in your business, 20 years is quite a long time. to be in business.
Yeah.
To be with a company, which just says something.
I think I did 20 working for someone and 20 on my own. So
it is. So, but you've stuck around with WSI for all this time, which is also very interesting. So, what's the biggest value you get out of being part of this WSI network?
Well, I will tell you this, it's evolved over the years. Initially, remember the early days of the internet, I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know how to monetize it. And I kind of worked with Home Office on that. And quite frankly, they were learning to it at that time. It was that new.
Yeah.
And we were kind of learning together, right? And so back then, it was really the knowledge sharing, some guidance is what I was getting out of it. But over the years, as I became more and more a veteran, that wasn't as necessary for me as it was. Now what I get out of it is like this. You and me, I mean, it's not just us. It's like you have different connections, you know, Neil and Eric, and we can talk. I can pick up the phone anytime and talk to someone who's at the same veteran level that I am and get feedback, get some ideas, partner certain things. So that's one of the main things. It's really the value of the network. It's kind of it's matured to that, right? The other thing is the e-marketplace, right? So there's two aspects there. One is you have the advantage of working with brand name suppliers, and you get a price break on them, which is nice, but it's not my number one reason why I'm excited about that. They're vetted. You know, it's not easy to become a WSI supplier, okay? But the other thing is, when you're working with an outside company, a brand name company, and through WSI, you get a higher level of service, right? So you may be at some entry-level program, but you're getting an enterprise-level service. You get a representative that works exclusively with WSI, and that really takes it to a whole nother level. So those are the two main things: is the network, us working together, and a superior level of service through some really high-end vendors.
Excellent. I find that's exactly the same thing. The value of the network is amazing. I mean, here I am in Africa. I never thought I'd even make it to the other side of the hemisphere, or the southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere. And there you are. This business has enabled us to do that. So thanks, Chuck. Thank you for those introduction into your business. Now we're going to go into some more serious stuff a little bit later.
We're going to open up that bottle of scotch?
I think we're going to do that.
Let's do that.